Hello everybody, my name is Logan S. Welcome back to my Pokemon Randomizer Nuzlocke challenge. This is Pokemon Emerald version. We are picking up where we left off, where we are in the Weather Institute, fighting off against the last little grunt that we need to here. Fu Manchu leads us off and easily takes care of this Umbreon. Next up is going to be Shellder, so I decide to switch in for a little type advantage, a little stab attack on DDR, but first I'm going to do a fake out, but Shellder predicts and protects, but with just one absorb, we almost take it down. I thought I was actually going to get it down, but I didn't. But one more quick move, and DDR takes it down. We defeat the admin, kick the Aqua Grunts out of here, and the cast form has been randomized to, unfortunately, Venonat, which we are not going to use. Up next, immediately following that, we have our battle against our rival. This could always go either very easy or very poorly. Our rival leads off with this Nidoking, which I'm not too worried about. Fu Manchu, I think, can take it, especially since we're a couple of levels up. Just 2 quick strengths, and this thing is going to go down. Up next comes Slacking, but the Slacking and the Ladybot don't give us much trouble, and with that, we get HM number 2, which is going to be Fly. So we can now fly around. I don't really have a flying type, so it's going to be kind of hard to take advantage of that, but we run around. I get my next encounter, which is a Poochyena, which I completely forget I could have done Dupe's Claws on because, you know, we had our Good Girl. Yes, it was Good Girl earlier, but I try to catch it, knock it out, and completely forget that, you know, could have gone for another encounter. But anyway, we get the ability to see the invisible Kecleon, and now I go and take down all of these random trainers in the gym. I get a little scared when this Lapras comes in because of Perish Song, but it just means I'm going to have to tank a couple of moves and switch my 2 Pokemon out, so it goes down. No big deal. We run around a little bit more, just trying to get through the puzzle, and we get all the way up to the gym leader. So now I do my ceremonial save before the gym badge battle, and we go in to face Winona. She leads with a Wobbuffet, which, if you know anything about Nuzlockes, is probably one of the scariest Pokemon you can see. I don't think I can one-shot this thing. I think there's a chance, especially if we get a crit, so I go with Crunch. Crunch hits, and it does about half damage, which, as you will see, is very unfortunate because of Mirror Coat, and it one-shots our good boy. So with that, Gengar has unfortunately met its final demise. Switch into Fu Manchu because I think that it can get the rest of this down with just 1 strength, and thankfully it does, so we don't lose a second Pokemon to this stupid Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet is definitely a killer, and I was not able to avoid the Wobbuffet curse. But the rest of this battle's not going to go too bad. Pinsir, Shellder go down easy. Quagsire's not going to be much considering it's quad weak to grass. And her final Pokemon is this little Pichu, which can do nothing against our land god. So with that, our TM we get is TM40, which is Pin Missile, which probably won't be good. Again, I am hurting for TMs in this playthrough. I seriously need a lot better moves. But with that, we need to switch out our team. I've decided to bring back the Quavla. So from there, we are going to train up a little bit because I need to up my levels a little bit before the next gym. And we need to progress through the story, go through... Oh, and we also get another encounter here. This encounter is going to be Tentacruel. Tentacruel's another Pokemon that I've never really used before, but, you know, could be useful later on, especially if we have some more deaths. So, take it down its health a little bit, not too hard to catch. I decide to name it Jelly, because, you know, it's a jellyfish. I'm not always very good with names. But from there, I try to avoid as many battles as possible, getting here to the next, getting to Lily Cove so I can save up, deposit some items, get rid of some, free up some space in the bag. I decide to go back and train up a little bit against the trainers. This trainer, the first Pokemon goes down easy, the Marowak, but the next Pokemon that she sends in is going to be Mewtwo, and I hope that Blue Beetle can do this, but no. It just one-shots our Blue Beetle, and with that, our Heracross is gone, which I am very sad about. I don't want to risk any more Pokemon, so I decided to throw in Land God, Legendary versus Legendary, and it gets a crit. And I am confused. And I should switch out right here. I know I'm in crit range, I know I'm confused, but I decide, you know what? I think we can handle this. But looking at my Pokemon, there's no real Pokemon I want to switch into because, you know, I don't think anybody can tank it. I think Groudon probably has the best chance. It's going to use Disable, which disables the Slash, which is what I was getting ready to use. So that move is just gone. So I'm really scared now because I don't know if these moves can finish it off. It uses Confusion. I pray that it doesn't crit. Thank God it doesn't. We are confused, please hit, and no, we hit ourselves in our confusion, and oh my god, Groudon almost goes down. So, absolutely no choice here. I am not losing Groudon, so I switch into DDR. Thankfully, it tanks the hit very, very well. I should have gone for Fake Out here, but I decided I'm just going to try to take it all the way down, and Astonish doesn't do it. I thought that maybe with it being... and there, of course, we got the crit when we didn't need it, but... we decided to Surf. Surf is probably our best move on DDR. It doesn't do a heck of a lot of damage. Mewtwo is a very, very strong Pokemon, so I struggled with this. I lost a Pokemon to it, but DDR thankfully takes the Mewtwo down. And with that, we lost another Pokemon, which means I have to run back, put Heracross in our dead box, and bring a new Pokemon onto the team that I'm going to now have to train up. I decided to take Tyson with us, the Breloom, just for a little bit of fighting type. Maybe it'll learn a good grass move, I hope, but from there we run around, battle more trainers, battle more wild Pokemon, just trying to get some levels. I completely forgot how much grinding you have to do in these games. Like, there's been times that I've done 2+ hours straight of just grinding. But we don't have too much trouble with the rest of these random trainers here. Go into the Safari Zone. Well, to get into the Safari Zone, you have to get the coin case, which took me forever to find, but I eventually find it, get into the Safari Zone so we can get another encounter. I'm really hopeful. I decide to be very, very deliberate with where I want to go. I decide this patch of grass seems good. And we run into a Sudowoodo, which, I do like Sudowoodo, but, it's not going to be a very good Pokemon to use. But, anyway, it's an encounter, so just in case, might as well try to capture it. And I actually managed to catch it with just one Pokeball, looks like, or one Safari Ball. So, we got to give this thing a nickname now, and I spent a little bit of time deciding before just calling it Pseudo, like the actual spelling for pseudo, which if you don't know, pseudo means false. So, Sudowoodo, false wood, anyway. Just called it Pseudo, doesn't matter. I don't think we're ever going to see this thing again in this playthrough. But as I'm walking around, I noticed that the Safari Zone, there's a new route to the Safari Zone, so I decide, you know what, if that pops up in the Safari Zone, I'm just going to treat this as a new area that I can get a new encounter in, which I think is neat. So, run into this Nidorino for this next encounter, and we fail to catch it, I think. So, moving on, I find another Safari Zone area, and we run into a Furret, which, I think is Dupe's Claws because we had Noodle that we caught earlier. So, run back, I double check and make sure this is a new area, and we run into a Pelipper, which could be useful. It's a flying type, it's a water type. If something happens to DDR, that could be very useful. And I also, just need something that with fly. I decided to name it High Flyer because that's the most likely reason it's going to end up on our team is to be able to fly. Running around, time runs out, and I decide not to go and see how many more areas there are. I head south, go past the mountain. We get another encounter here, and it's going to be Gulpin, which is a Dupe's Claws because we have Regal, the Swalot. So, next encounter, our next thing is going to be Kadabra, which I decide I really, really want Kadabra. Kadabra could be great, but it somehow manages to one-shot Tyson. So, Tyson, I'm sorry, you didn't get very much time on this team, but you will be missed. But I need this Kadabra, especially since I've already lost one Pokemon to it. So, thankfully, we do capture it. Kadabra kind of gives me Korean vibes, and that made me think of Gangnam Style, so I decided to name it Gangnam. So we put that in the box for now, but we got to go and get another encounter here, and we get a Magnemite, which I have learned Magnemite, Magneton, especially Magnezone are all very useful in Nuzlocke. I didn't really know that before, but I like Magnemite. It's a magnet, so I decided to name it Polar because it has, a north and a south pole, so Polar the Magnemite. But we need a new Pokemon. I decide to bring High Flyer onto the team again because I really want Fly. So, train it up a bit, head into the, I forgot what this was. Is it Mount Pyre, I think? But we get our encounter, which is going to be an Eevee, which I think could be useful because, depending on what type we need later, I have a bunch of stones. So, Eevee could be a potential godsend if we need it. But I name it V and decide to move on. We move up the mountain where we're going to run into, is it Team Magma or Team Aqua? I always forget which one's up here. It's Team Aqua. So, battle through these grunts. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of healing. I don't want to run all the way back. I decide just to take these two on as a double battle, which is stupid. I should have just took them on as single battles because there is that option, Double battles are inherently more dangerous than single battles, but I decide I'm high enough level, I want to try to just do this. So we're going to get into it. The first two Pokemon go down. The second two Pokemon, I can't remember. I thought I lost a Pokemon here. I do. High Flyer, it does fall. So unfortunately, that means we no longer have our flying type, which means we need another new Pokemon. There's just so many Pokemon I'm just killing off here, just because I'm absolutely terrible at trying to grind. But deposit a few more items so I got more room. Now we have to go and train up 2 more Pokemon. I'm getting so sick and tired of all of this training. Whenever I lose a Pokemon stupidly, I should have... That's one thing I will say. I do own up, basically all of these mistakes were avoidable if I was a better Nuzlocker, which, this is literally my first Nuzlocke. I am already planning on what I'm going to do different next time I decide to do a Nuzlocke. So, we just have to run through, grind and grind and grind, go back and heal, grind and grind and go back and heal. And I finally decide to go on up, which I forgot that you don't actually have to fight Archie here. I thought I was going to have to fight him, which is why I was grinding so much, but he just runs away. We get the Magma emblem, and we are able to head on out. We are able to head back. I decide to follow through with this route, pick up some items. Maybe there's going to be a new encounter. Battle some trainers for some hopefully good experience. Here's a Chimecho. I'm not too worried at first, but Cinder here gets into range, and we lose another Pokemon. Just killing all the Pokemon in this one. So I now have to run all the way back, and we lose our Cinder, our Koavla, and which means another new Pokemon is needed. So I decide on Andy, the Walrein. Now we have to level it up, and there is a move that Walrein knows. Is it Ice Ball, I believe? And I really liked this move at first, but then I'm using it, and I forget that you get locked into it for multiple turns. And Andy goes down to a Hitmontop. I decide to bring on Jelly now. We are just steamrolling through this box of backups that we have. So now we have to train up Jelly, which is another little montage here of switch training, defeating the Pokemon he can easily defeat, and then I decide we need to move on up. It is time for the Magma hideout. Go through a few trainers. I decide to try to get some items, heal up, go back, and into the Team Magma base. I completely forget that this is a new encounter, that this Magby could have been caught, but anyway, I take it out. There goes our encounter for this new area. Anyway, move through. Don't have too much problem getting through all of these grunts, thankfully. But then we run into this particular grunt, who is going to have a Mewtwo, my nemesis, that has taken down multiple I think it only took down one Pokemon, but thankfully it goes down. That time, at least, without losing anybody. I heal up a little bit, move along through the cave, or through the... is this a cave, or is this a mountain? This is a cave inside of a mountain, right? But, anyway, moving along through it, we run into quite a few more trainers, quite a few more Pokemon. Nothing eventful happens until it should be coming up very, very soon. Right here, we run into a wild Alakazam, and I stop and I'm like, wait a second. Dupe's Claws. I have a Kadabra. Alakazam would be amazing. So I decide I'm going to try so hard to get this Alakazam. We need it. It could be a great addition to the team. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to catch it or not because I don't know its catch rate. But thankfully, we do catch it, which means I can use my Dupe's Claws. And instead of a Kadabra, now I can have a fully powered up Alakazam. I name it Gangam 2. And then we run into, and then from there, this is basically the end of the video. If you want to see what happens next, give me a subscription, give me a like, consider sharing this. But that's about it. We're going to run into this last admin, which has a Rayquaza, which again is kind of scary, but it's not going to be too bad. We are going to get up to Maxi without having any deaths. So thank you so much for watching. Consider giving me a subscription, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.